What's going on, guys? Greg here, and in this video we are going to be talking about the next maybe super team as far as what I've mentioned. Now, I've mentioned this in other videos before, and this is about the Los Angeles Clippers, of course, having enough cap space to sign 2 max players, and what their main opinion of it is, which is to get Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant. Now, obviously, that would be a huge move as far as this, so we're definitely going to be talking about this, and the number one main thing would have to be Kawhi Leonard. Now, Kawhi Leonard is an obvious target for this reason. Now, as far as the reports that I've been hearing, the reports are that Kawhi Leonard still does, of course, feel the way that he does about wanting to play in LA, and he doesn't care if it's the Los Angeles Lakers or the Clippers. Now, as far as a Kevin Durant, that's another story. We don't really have any reports of him directly wanting to go there. Of course, I'm sure he would be willing to play with a Kawhi Leonard, but the real question is, would Kawhi Leonard want to play with him? Obviously, like we mentioned, he has the opportunity to pick between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Clippers, so we'd have to really see between those two. Now, with Kawhi Leonard, he is saying the fact that he is having fun playing with the Raptors. Now, I believe if the Raptors can win a championship, maybe that can sway him a little bit more, but like I mentioned, I really think as far as for players such as that, you have to see success in the playoffs. So I expect they have to have a good playoff run. They cannot have a unexpected quick exit. If that happens, expect Kawhi Leonard to be gone, I would imagine. So as far as that, but as far as what they're looking like they're doing pretty good offensively. Defensively, they're just holding up pretty good as far as Kawhi Leonard. He's one of the best two-way players in the NBA, which is why many teams would go out and want him. So we have that right there. Now, as far as the Kevin Durant situation, obviously he has the opportunity to leave. Now, we've obviously been hearing comments as far as him talking about jersey retirements, statues, all that, and all sorts of things. Of course, he has not confirmed the fact that he wants to stay with Golden State, even though I believe personally that's what he'll end up doing, is staying in Golden State. We have to look at the fact that Kevin Durant is most likely in the best championship situation right now. Now, as far as the Clippers, if you're wondering how are they capable of doing this, now I've mentioned this in other videos. One that probably in particular would be the one where Jimmy Butler requested his 3 teams, and one of them being the Clippers. I mentioned the reason why he picked those teams were they had cap space for future years, which obviously makes them an attractive market, especially considering they're a Los Angeles team. So obviously the location helps, and like I mentioned, they have a lot of short-term contracts with players that they don't necessarily need at the moment, and therefore they can create cap space by the end of the year. They have no long-term contracts. This is why they got rid of the Blake Griffin, signing him to the major deal, so they could make room to make moves in the free agency. Now, of course, not only that, of course, one of the moves that they made was acquiring Jerry West, who, of course, is one of the best basketball decision makers of all time, if we really think about it. Of course, he was one of the people that helped out with the situation for drafting a Kobe Bryant and then signing within a trade a Shaquille O'Neal. He was the reason why the Golden State Warriors ended up drafting the way that they did with Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Stephen Curry. You have multiple situations as far as him acquiring the talent to try to go after a Kevin Durant as well. So we're talking about a person who's, of course, been on this road before as far as making these moves and trying to establish these great super teams. And he's done a very great job. So to really see if he can do it again, he might become the greatest decision maker as far as basketball-wise in history. If he can make another move like this again with not only 1 or 2 franchises, but 3, that would be a huge move if you really do think about it. But like I mentioned, not only though is it good, we're seeing the fact that the Clippers are actually doing pretty good for where they are in talent-wise as well. You have to just like the ability that they have. Tobias Harris, he's doing very well offensively. He seems to be really great there. Of course, you have Lou Williams that comes off the bench, one of the most premier 6-men of this NBA. So you have obviously pieces that not only would you have those contracts? You have the contracts in the right situations. You have the players that you can want to keep, that you can keep. And then you also have situations where if you can get two players, now whether or not those two players will end up being Kevin Durant and Kawhi is a whole nother story though. But like I mentioned, I do believe the fact that obviously we're hearing the fact that players like Jimmy Butler actually chose them out of a trade destination. So obviously other players are noticing this move and could easily attract other free agents, if not this year, future years as well. So it really just leans into that, whether or not that's the situation. Now, if this does happen, I would have to imagine the fact that this would be a huge move here. Now, the reason why I do mention Kevin Durant may not go is this number one, the biggest decision of it all, which is the Golden State Warriors can afford this move. They can obviously afford to give Kevin Durant the most money out of any team. He can offer them the super max 5-year contract due to what he's done in this league. So they're the only teams that can offer that, while everyone else is a 4-year max contract, which obviously the Clippers can afford. And another reason why the Clippers are a good move is, of course, their owner, Steve Ballmer, former CEO of Microsoft. So obviously he's got money. He's a multi-billionaire. He can afford to pay into luxury tax. That's one thing he has mentioned that he's willing to do, especially in the cases of winning. So if there's one thing that a player loves to hear, it is the fact that they are willing to go after players and go after things. That's one of the main reasons why a player in Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City was the poor ownership as far as their decisions of trying to save money, especially with the James Harden situation, where they ended up trading James Harden away just because of the fact that they wanted to save being in the luxury tax by a few $1 million for being repeat offenders. So big moves like that obviously is something that may very much benefit in something such as that. But of course, as we all know, the Golden State Warriors are in no bad of a situation that they would not be willing to also pay into the luxury tax. So the real situation that really comes into hand here is whether or not these players want to go there, what definitively happens this regular season. But guys, tell me what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think the fact that there are going to be superstar players playing for the Los Angeles Clippers, and if you think so, do you think it will be Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant on the same team? If not, tell me who do you think the fact the Clippers are going to get. If not, tell me if they're not going to get any of them. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you leave a like, subscribe to become with the Greek Army today, and as always, this is Sparta.